The stars shimmered like diamonds scattered across the void, serene and undisturbed. The Zalvoth Dominion, an empire spanning over 100 systems, had grown complacent. Their fleets were unmatched, their technology superior, their conquests effortless. And yet, as they prepared to crush another rebellious world, they made one fatal mistake. They assumed humanity wouldn't come. Kessery Prime was nothing more than a mining colony, a backwater world with a small, struggling population. The Zalvoth fleet surrounded it like a pack of predators circling a wounded animal. The planetary defenses were primitive, barely worth acknowledging. The governor of the Zalvoth forces, Lord General Viren, watched from the bridge of his dreadnought, a cruel smirk stretching across his reptilian features. "This will be over before their sun sets," he muttered, his clawed fingers tapping the armrest of his command throne. "Prepare the bombardment." A Zalvoth officer turned from his console, his scaled face showing no emotion. "Sir, long-range sensors have detected an anomaly at the system's edge." Viren waved a dismissive hand. "Likely a malfunction. Our dominance is absolute. Continue the assault." But before the first plasma round could be fired, the anomaly resolved itself into something terrifying. A rupture in space, a distortion unlike anything the Zalvoth had ever encountered. And then, from the void, they arrived. The Terran fleet, sleek black warships bristling with weapons, emerged from slipspace in tight formation. Their hulls bore no unnecessary markings, only the insignia of the United Terran Defense Force, an unbroken silver ring encircling a single burning star. Humanity had come. For too long, the galaxy had underestimated them. Seen as a young, reckless species, they had been dismissed as insignificant. But the humans had been watching, learning, waiting. And now, they had chosen their moment. "Sir!" The Zalvoth officer's voice carried an edge of something Viren had never heard before. Fear. "The Terran ships are locking onto us." Viren's smirk faltered. "Impossible! Humans have never—" The first shot fired wasn't a warning. It was an execution. A lance of searing blue energy speared through the Zalvoth destroyer at the fleet's edge, cutting it in half before its crew could even react. And then the void erupted with fire. The Terran fleet moved like no force the Zalvoth had ever faced. Their ships were faster, more coordinated, striking with lethal precision. While the Dominion had relied on sheer numbers and overwhelming brutality, humanity had perfected something far deadlier: efficiency. Viren watched in stunned silence as another Zalvoth cruiser was torn apart by a barrage of hypervelocity rounds, its armor shredded like paper. He barely had time to bark an order before the next explosion rocked his dreadnought, sending tremors through the deck. This is not possible," he snarled. "They should not be here." But they were, and they weren't stopping. For the first time in centuries, the Zalvoth Dominion found itself on the defensive. Their mighty fleet, feared across the stars, was being torn apart by the one species they had dismissed as weak. The humans weren't just fighting, they were hunting, and they were winning. Viren gritted his teeth, watching the Terran fleet tear through his forces like a storm of steel and fire. He had underestimated them. The Dominion had underestimated them. And now, they would all pay the price. Panic rippled through the Zalvoth fleet like a virus. Their carefully maintained formations crumbled under the relentless assault. What should have been an easy conquest was rapidly turning into a massacre. Lord General Viren gripped the armrests of his command throne, his claws digging into the metal. This wasn't how it was supposed to go. This wasn't how wars were fought in the Dominion. Battles were meant to be one-sided, swift, merciless. The enemy was supposed to kneel, not strike back with terrifying precision. "Pull back to the second defense line," he barked, His officers scrambled to obey, sending hasty commands through the chaotic channels. The remaining Zalvoth warships broke away from the wreckage of their comrades, forming a desperate defensive perimeter. Plasma turrets swiveled, missile bays unlocked, shields roared to life. But the humans didn't pause. They didn't hesitate. A squadron of Terran frigates punched through the gaps in the Zalvoth formation like knives through flesh. Their weapons didn't just disable, they annihilated. The humans fought like they had something to prove. Viren narrowed his eyes. No, not something to prove, something to avenge. "Sir," a comms officer's voice trembled. "We've lost contact with 2 more warships, and our jamming fields aren't working. They're bypassing all electronic interference." Viren's scaled brow furrowed. Impossible. The Dominion had dominated every species it encountered. No one had technology beyond their own. But humanity wasn't just another species, and that terrified him. A new transmission crackled through the Dreadnought's command deck, forcing itself through the Dominion's encrypted channels like an uninvited guest. "Zalvoth Fleet, this is Admiral Elias Rains of the United Terran Defense Force." The voice was calm, unyielding. "You have one chance. Leave the system immediately, or be reduced to debris." Silence swallowed the bridge. No one spoke. Even Viren felt his throat tighten. A demand from a human. He slammed his fist against the armrest, standing so abruptly his command chair screeched against the floor. "They dare demand terms from us?" His second-in-command hesitated. "Sir, we are significantly outgunned. Our reinforcements are hours away. The Terran fleet is an annoyance," Viren growled. "Not a threat. We hold our ground." But deep down, he knew that was a lie. The Zalvoth Dominion had never encountered a force like this before. The humans weren't relying on brute force or superior numbers. They were surgical, efficient, and worst of all, they were relentless.